Conversations powered by JessTalk LisaListen. Are you ready for a great show?
I am ready, Jess.
You're going to bring it?
I'm bringing it.
I got a funny feeling you did your homework. Was that proper English?
No.
I have a feeling with the vernacular that I'm adding to the program now,
yes,
that you have done your homework sensationally,
the master
girl.
communicator
That's
is
what I'm
up.
talking about. Master communicator. We're going to have a great show. Really great show.
Let's do this thing.
But I want to do a couple shout outs. The first shout out I'd like to do to is a gentleman by the name of Andre Berry. Andre Berry works for MGM Resorts International, and he is the Senior Vice President of Talent and Development.
Wow.
And this dude is bad to the bone.
He is. He really
He's
is.
got intelligence. He's got a wonderful vernacular. He's got great energy. He has got a deep care and appreciation for helping others. Do you know how many people he's in charge of? Well, not in charge, responsible for.
62,000, Jess.
Oh, you so give me a bump.
You know it.
You did your homework. I wanted to be so impressive with that. Be like,
I wanted to impress you back.
You impressed me first. I'm not back. How about first? So yeah, over 62,000 lives are in his hand because the people that want to rise in the company of MGM Resorts International, if they do get an opportunity to rise from this point forward, they all doors must come through him for that. And he's always out there looking for people that want to go to the next level. Not only does he look for them, he actually stands behind them, finds company dollars to support their development and growth. To me, that's a man that puts his money where his mouth is.
You know, when we watched him at Nabo speak.
Bad to the bone.
Oh, he had
the boy
everybody
made me
vibing
tired.
off of their
The boy
chair.
made me tired. He was jumping up and down and saying his thing, and he had his quotes down. He had incredible stories, and the origin of his plight came from powerful women, his grandmother, as I recall.
Right.
And those
which was much like your story.
Which was much like my story, all the way up through another and I'm sure there were some powerful men, but I remember some of the powerful women was his grandmother, and another powerful female that helped his rise later in his life was Renee West,
yes,
who just recently retired as a COO, president, CEO, MBO, MBA, ABA, MNBA. She had all that stuff behind her name, and she helped him a great deal. So he's someone I want to throw a shout out to because I like what he's doing for other people.
Well, I'd like to give a shout out to Elysia Peters.
Tell me why.
From We Olive in Reno, Nevada.
Yeah, that was a great gig. We just did that.
She is amazing.
She is amazing. Now Elysia, to me, she is way ahead of her time.
Way.
She's 29. Correct.
I was going to say 28. You're right.
She just turned 29
Yep.
last week, and this woman has built her own business. Now it's a franchise.
It is,
but she still had to put her heart and soul and muscle and integrity. She had to call upon her village, her father, her mother. I don't know who else she called upon, but I know those two for sure.
Yeah.
And you walk into this facility. How did you feel when you walked into We Olive?
Welcome. I felt welcome. It was warming. It was inviting.
It made you want to stay a while, didn't it?
The customer service, Jordan.
Jordan was off the hook. And you know what? He's got a $10,000 smile.
Yes,
you
he
say
does.
something to him that's funny, his cheeks rise to the top, and the teeth are straight across, and he's got the long curly hair. So he's sort of, I don't know. He doesn't even know how cool he is.
It's true.
So, but Elysia Peters is a leader of leaders, and she puts her heart and soul not just into the business. You know what I was impressed? The business is beautiful, but what I was impressed is what she does for others.
Yeah.
Much like Andre Berry.
Right.
She wants her team to succeed, not just the business to succeed.
She's very passionate about what she's doing.
What did you like best about her?
I love her personality. I love her bossiness. I really do. You know, I think she should own it in a soft way.
You know what? We can't talk long about it, but when you say bossiness, you're not labeling her. That came from a color code representation. That was one of the limitations on her primary or secondary color. I'm going to say this. I would say that rather than her bossiness, I'd like to see her work on being firm, being fair, and being consistent. And she knows what is right, but being bossy is not something anybody really, really likes, except for you.
Well, no. Really?
You're the only one. But I know I get where you're saying. I'm not trying to create a debate here. I'm just saying the bossy structure is not something that's going to resonate well with her team. But if she's fair and firm and consistent,
the way that she owned it, and she knows that she is, and that she was going to work on it, and that was one of the things that really came out.
Right.
And that's one of her. Once she gets a handle on that, that's really going to send her
I totally agree,
to the
but
next level in a big, fast way.
I respect that. As an owner-operator of any business, especially a new startup business like this, she too is bad to the bone.
Yes, she is.
All right. So with that being said, we're going to talk about, what's the topic of the show today?
It's the magic of believing.
Let's get into it.
And where did you get the idea for the topic for today's show?
It was really simple. I read that book no less than 8 times per year, every year since I read it for the first time. The Magic of Believing.
8 times, Jess?
I'm not kidding. Yeah, by I know.
Come on.
Claude M. Bristol is off the chain. You know,
is that your perfectionism coming out?
No, I told you I'm over that. I told you I'm a recovering perfectionist and aspiring good enough is.
Okay.
We had this conversation.
I just wanted to keep it in check.
Because it might leak in, right?
Right.
Yeah, it might leak in every now and then. So it does leak in more than every now and then. Well, no. So I read it. I read the book about 8 times a year, and the reason why is because the book shares a very primary message about how we go through life with a belief system when it's intact from a foundational point, building our lives and by design the way we want it rather than having life happen to us and not allowing those negative stinking thinking thoughts to erode the quality of life and your potential. That's why I like it so much.
Well, as a matter of fact, as a recommendation by you, I did download the audio, and it is just 90 minutes long, so I got through about 60 minutes of that. And I found it was pretty fascinating. You know, it's stuff from Think and Grow Rich. It's the underlying messages in a lot of the books that we read. But
it is, and we're going to get into that. I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to let you know that Danny Vegas is in the room. He is in the chat room.
Hey.
So Danny
now.
Vegas, we appreciate you being in the chat room. We're gonna dive right into the subject matter, and we know that you're going to have some brilliant commentary and or questions. So we're going to be watching this. We'll toggle back and forth to look at this to make sure we catch what Danny's up to. So let us know, Danny. We're going to pop in right now and go further deep so Danny can have some things he can sink his teeth into. So let's think about it this way. Before we start talking more about the book, let's talk about, a belief system and what happens when you have a great one or when you have one that's faulty or not so good or terrible one. How about this? Can you share a time in your life when your belief system was shattered or just completely broken to the ground?
Yes.
Speak to me.
After 2 failed marriages,
okay,
but each of them were 10 years. I went on a rebound relationship after that.
Okay.
And after leaving all of that, I was at a place where I was lost, wanted to give up. And the thing that really kept me going was my 3 kids.
Wow. And because when you say they kept you going, why? How? Because
when I wanted to check out, I couldn't imagine me.
Tell me what you mean by check out. You mean like just punch the clock? Wow, suicidal.
Yeah,
wow.
Very.
That's deep. So your negative thinking and your belief system was so eroded, it made you want to leave the earth. I
was the lowest I've ever been, and I really thought it was a point of no return.
We need to do a special show on that. That's a big, big deal. You know how many people that are watching this podcast feel like checking out like right at this moment?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's a big deal. I think we ought to create a very special program. What would we call that? Low
there's
moments.
Hope.
There's hope.
There's
I
hope.
like that. Hope floats, or
Hope floats.
Well, there's a movie. I'm sorry, I get movie in my head. I like that, Liz. Something about there's hope.
Yeah, let's do that because
okay.
I think that could really. No, I don't think. I know it will help others.
Okay, so that was a really low moment. And your children and knowing that they needed a stable place to live and grow up was what kept you going.
Yeah,
I like it.
And
well
then,
done. I think that deserves a round of applause.
So what I did was
Cha-ching.
I looked for a life coach because I had heard that these life coaches could get you in a better place, hold you accountable. And I was at a point where I was desperate and I was going to do whatever it took. And I was ready and willing to do the work because I felt so low and so bad.
You knew you needed the help. You knew you needed help. You knew you also couldn't do it alone.
Exactly.
Well, that failure in terms of your belief system is probably something that's rampant out there these days with people trying to keep up with so much in such a fast-paced, super information highway age that we live in.
Yeah.
So I like that. That's a good share.
What about you? Do you have one?
I do. I could bring a number of them. The first one that comes top of mind to me, believe it or not, after my first degree, I didn't have anything else planned. I didn't have anything else going. and I felt dumb.
What was that first degree?
A Bachelor of Fine Arts in Art, a 4-year degree at University of Nevada, Las Vegas. So when I finished the degree, I was fine until about the end of the summer. So about 3 months or so, I lived with it. But going into the 4th and 5th month, I felt dumb because I had gone to school all my life. Now I'm not going to school. I don't have anything else on the horizon. I was working at a corporate job, and I started to feel dumb, and I felt stupid. Like, how can you feel dumb and stupid after a 4-year degree?
Why did you?
Because my belief system started to erode. My belief in self, my belief in opportunity, because it seemed like there was nothing else there. It seemed empty and broken. So yeah, that was a very low moment.
That reminds me of my my niece Lindsay.
Okay.
That after she was an honor student at the University of Utah, working her way all the way through college.
She was beautiful. She was gorgeous, talented.
Loved her.
Right.
Loved her to pieces.
Right.
And after graduating and not working, she felt that everything just stopped in her life.
Right. And it wasn't really true, but that's what she believed.
And so she was on all kinds of different antidepressants, one to the other, until one of them finally took her life.
Unfortunately, she didn't make it out of that.
I know.
Because she didn't have enough of the right resources around her to go, no, you're beautiful, you're intelligent, you've got this.
Yeah.
Hang in there. Let me hold your hand. Let me walk you through it.
Yeah.
Let me spend the night. Let me spend the month.
Yes.
Come spend the night with us.
Exactly.
Or forget about spending the night. Come live with us. She didn't have enough of those resources. She had resources, but she just didn't have enough or didn't know how to use them.
Funny enough, when she was going through that period, that's when I was going through my lowest period.
Get out.
So typically I would be a person to say, come with me, let me help.
Also,
but I was doing all I could to hang on.
You were a role model for her too, though.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's huge. That's a show. Mothers and daughters and mothers and nieces, and that's a really good show.
Yeah.
I like that. So that was a low point. Another low point for me was after 75,000 hours of work, I began to wonder if my business was something I needed to be into because it wasn't having the success. You look like you're having some trouble there. You're focused on the microphone.
Keep talking.
Go ahead.
He says, keep talking.
Okay,
so
keep
he
going,
says, stop
Jess.
focusing on the microphone. Pretend like it's working.
Maybe I had too much hot air coming out of my mouth. I was melting.
Ooh,
melting.
I can feel that dragon breath all the way over here.
Dragon, whoa.
No, but it's good.
Woo.
It had a little
Okay.
bit of a cinnamon flavor to it.
All right.
So don't. It's yeah. You might have just moved. He positioned it up, Lisa, so that it would the
Well,
gravity.
I thought he.
No, he put it in up position for you, and you took it out of the up position.
Okay, all right.
Hang
on.
It kind of didn't move. And now all you folks are out there listening. I'm gonna see if Danny's in the chat room. Danny's probably laughing his butt off in the chat room. Danny is laughing in the chat room. Danny's saying, that's a good show, but forget about the microphone. Just keep the show rolling. And I'm gonna say,
this
Danny,
is show business. I'm
gonna say, Danny, thank you for that. And so our technician, our director, is going to tell Lisa, do not touch it after I get it there.
Okay,
so that's
here we
what he
go.
meant to
Thank
say.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Your show is fine. Ooh, look at you walk
Look
away.
at that behind.
Ooh, look at that walk away. You sexy knickers. Sexy knickers you are. All right. Sorry. Sidebar. So now, with that being said, we want to make up some time by saying, check this out. How to tap into the power of belief. Don't you think it's important to learn how to tap into the power of belief? It has to be mind stuff. It has to be the books that you read. The people. There's a quote that says, and this is by, I think I learned this quote maybe 7 or 8 years ago or so, and it was from Charlie Tremendous Jones, and it says, you will be the same person you are today, except for the books that you read and the people that you meet. And then I added, and your life experiences, what you do about your life experiences. So this is mind stuff. These are the things that are the foundation for building a great belief system. And the golden thread of life is in the belief system. So what about people that have like a faulty, a belief system that maybe goes awry? What are your thoughts?
Oh.
Can you think of a character or a person or a...
As far as I think it's that little inner critic that continually talks to you, that gets the best of you, and you just lose your sense of self. You lose the belief in self.
You do. And we were talking in the green room before we came online here about how to tap into the power of belief, and you were telling me a story about Hitler, I believe.
Well, and that was in the book, the chapter of The Power of Suggestion.
Okay.
They talked about Hitler. They talked about his belief was so strong that he was going to do what he did that he started putting up billboards and signs, and so people started believing him because of the power of suggestion, because of the signs that he put around.
Right.
They were looking for somebody to follow, and he had the belief so strong that he created all of that by the power of suggestion.
Right. Which is foundational for a belief system. So he had a whole society, a whole culture, a whole part of the continent.
Movement.
Well, the movement came from what you're talking about, that these people really believe that he was the Messiah. He was the next coming. And he was about ready to take over the entire world until England and the U.S. said, wait a minute. Mm-hmm. Why don't we just team up and go over there and thump some heads? Right?
Bam,
Why don't we whoop up on
bam.
some, there you go, blow it up. Yeah. Why don't we whoop up on some butt over there, right?
Yeah.
And if we did not wake up, I mean, that's what brought America alive, along with there were many other alliances, not just the U.S. and England, but it was the two of them that said, let's go over there and stop this.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. We might be speaking German right now, those of us that would have survived.
Who knows?
Right? So the magic of believing becomes huge. That's a foundational story. I'm glad you shared that. And don't you think it starts with what you want?
Yeah, absolutely.
The best belief system, learning a powerful belief system, and the book talks about this too in The Magic of Believing. The book by Claude M. Bristol, The Magic of Believing, talks about you've got to determine, you got to know what you want. And this book is a sensational book. That's the reason why I read it 8 times a year.
And you're never too old, because he didn't even write the book till what, age 50?
After 50.
So,
absolutely. You're never too old. Wilford Brimley didn't get his start in show business until after 50. And he's great.
He is.
But he had to have a belief system to get him there. And so, but you have to know what you want.
The vision has to be so strong and so powerful, and you keep that just locked into your conscious and subconscious, and the subconscious will go to work to find what it is you're looking for, as long as you don't lose sight of that vision.
That's an interesting thought, because as you know, when we are having a challenge, a problem, no matter how big it is or how small it is, before we go to bed, I throw it to my subconscious mind. I ask the question. I said, I need you to work on this while I'm asleep. And it usually wakes me up sometime before my wake-up call, and I have a leather pouch by the bed, and it'll actually give me the answer. And I write the answer. I don't turn on any lights. It's not great printing, but I can read it. And I put the book down, and I go back to sleep. My subconscious mind has delivered me the answer, because I have such a foundational belief system that the answers are there.
Well, and if you don't have, they said, if you don't have the belief system, you're not going to find it.
Exactly.
You have to be very intent with what you say, so that your subconscious can go to work and get the answer, but you have to believe that the answer will come.
Exactly. And I'm gonna take a look at the chat room again, because check this out. Danny Vegas is back on it as well. There's another person in the chat room. We're going to call this person Mr. Vegas. And Danny talks about the demons get you. Danny says the demons, and what Danny means by the demons. By the way, Danny, that is brilliant. And you're right. Everyone has demons. You have to snuff those demons out. You got to shut them down. And having a powerful belief system is how you do that. So Danny's right on with that. So thank you for that, Danny. And Mr. Vegas says, yep, the black dark energy, the vampires, which is like, Danny's demons.
Negative energy.
And the Mr. Vegas says in the chat room, negative energy. What else? This is a very positive show. Love it, Mr. Vegas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's true.
We must be doing something right
we
today,
are,
Jess.
We are. You are doing something way right. Blow it up. Blow it up. Do it again. Blow it up. Do it again. Oh, God. I love it when cha-ching when you blow it up like that. So it starts with knowing what you want. In our business, from the stage, whether we're doing keynotes, workshops, or training, or in the coaching studio, whether it's group coaching, team coaching, corporate coaching, or individual coaching, a lot of people, as you remember, we start them out with what we call a wants analysis and a coaching expectation. They must complete that before we can work with them. Most of the people that we start with don't even know what they want. They know they need something. They know they need some sort of help, or they want some guidance or some leadership, and they know they need that, but we want to start with what they want. So we either
don't know how to put it into words,
or
what they want.
Either they don't know how to put it into words, or they really just don't know.
They know they have a pulling and a need for something, but they can't. They're not sure how to find it, so they're with us to find it.
So your job is to help them discover what they want, and when that becomes ironclad, then help them know how to build it, design it, create it, develop it. Right? And
hold them accountable to get there.
Exactly. So it starts with what you want, and then it goes to your desired goals. Once you know what you want, what are your goals to help you get there? And you need an accountability partner, or you let yourself off the hook.
And from the book, talking about goals, back then they said to get a little 5x7 card.
Right.
Write down those. He talked about 5 things. I kind of have 54 things
Right,
on
right,
my
right.
list.
But that was back in the day.
Right.
That was like 50, 60 years ago.
So he said, and write it on like 5 or 6 of those cards, put it in your car, put it on the mirror in the bathroom.
Yes.
Read it in the morning when you get up, and definitely read it before you go to bed at night, because it goes to work. Your subconscious goes to find what it is that you want.
I love it. The answers are right here.
Yes.
There's acres of diamonds right in our own backyard that we
true.
don't even know.
It's true.
Which is a whole nother book and a whole nother program.
Well, no, because people don't believe.
Because they don't believe.
They don't
I love
believe.
That. We're going to blow it up. 2 hands.
Oh.
Two
I don't want to break the mic.
yeah, I'm sorry about that. I made you reach. No, you're right, Lisa. That's very, very good. It's so true. How about this? Thoughts attracts that upon which it is directed. That came from the book too. You start with what you want, then you build your desired goals, and your thought attracts that upon which it is directed. You got to direct those to positive thoughts.
Well, and to that point, it said, if you keep thinking that you're back in the depression, if you keep resonating with, the banks are going broke, and I have no money,
exactly
and I have none of this, and none of this, and none of this, then you create that, and you will have nothing, because it's your belief system.
Because you're going to make it true.
Exactly.
I love it. Most people that we discover out on the streets, right in mainstream America, or even in other countries that we visit, a lot of people live from what they don't have
versus what they do have.
I don't care how much you have or don't, you always have something to build from. If you focus on what you do have and build from that, that's why we started this thing called Reflections.
Yeah.
Where we write down, we reflect the things that are very powerful or positive or make us feel better.
The positive hits in a day that happen.
Positive hits in a day.
Yeah.
Reflect upon those.
Instead of the negative.
Yeah,
oh my God, I don't have this, and
that's what grows.
I don't have that, and
we should do a show on the power of reflection.
Oh my God, we are on a roll today.
I know. I can't. I hope we remember this. We're gonna have to go back and watch this program. Because I'm not taking notes.
Well,
okay?
maybe the guy who came and fixed the mic's taking notes for us.
You better be taking notes over there, Mr. Director. We'll pay you extra for that. Our director says, you realize that we are recording this. Good call, good call. Well, get this. Sigmund Freud said something that I thought was very, very cool. Freud said there's a powerful force within us molding our thoughts. Some people call it the soul. Some people call it the superconscious. Others call it inner power or the power of the subconscious mind, or spirit or will, or just the mind. Mm-hmm. Whatever you call it, we want to direct that and tap into that and feed it positive energy. Mm-hmm. And when you're around someone that has it, can you just feel it? Even if you never talk to them, you can feel it from across the room.
Or when somebody walks in the room, you can just feel the brightness. And to the other point, when somebody negative walks in the room, it just brings the room and the energy in the room down.
It does. It really does. That's a very good point. When you talk about the inner power or the subconscious mind or the mind itself, the really cool thing about that is, at its essence, it is the essence of life. It never sleeps. It can perform miracles. It can take you places where you didn't think you could go.
I think Joel Osteen says that.
Oh, I love Joel Osteen. And that boy's bad to the bone.
He is.
He's got that Houston drawl going on out there that I can't do very well. All right, he got the Houston drawl going, and then he got that hair, thick hair. I'll bet you when he gets out of the shower, it's curly like an afro. I'll bet he's got to brush that stuff to keep it
You're
straight.
You're jealous, aren't you?
I am jealous. He's got beautiful blue eyes, too. He's a cool dude. I like that cat. He's what I call a blue-eyed soul brother.
Yes,
he knows he's got soul.
You've been to his church.
I have actually met him. I went to his church with a great friend and client of mine, Ann Lee, out of Houston. She invited me there, and we actually met Joel Osteen and his wife right after the service.
Did you lay a book in his hands?
I sent him a book. You know that boy didn't say thank you yet?
You are kidding. Maybe you should follow up and make sure he got it.
No, I'm going to talk to his ministry.
Hello.
That's all good. So with that being said, visualization is another key part of a powerful. What do you think about visualization?
Well, I believe I touched on that earlier when I said get the cards and get that picture in your mind of the end result, and don't let anything get in the way of that end result. Visualize it. You and I have pictures of things we want to go. We have storyboards, dream boards.
Constantly.
We visualize everything that we want, and it's
all coming true.
You got to keep those shots in the top of mind.
It jumpstarts it, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, big time.
And you know the mind doesn't think in words. The mind thinks in pictures.
Yeah.
So the more pictures you can have of what you do. In fact, let me check the chat room just to see if anybody's. Oh yeah. And Danny Vegas says he gets that. And Mr. Vegas, actually another one, says he actually sees that as well. So it's in the power of visualization. It really is. So the power of your subconscious, that intuition, that emotion, it's about organization and imagination and dedication. And that's why when you can see a picture of it, the mind thinks in pictures. You have much more of an opportunity to bring that to life and having to come true, right? So let's talk about what you want out of life in terms of using the belief system, the power of the magic of believing. I think if we focus on 3 top points, number 1, know what you want. Mm-hmm. Number 2, visualize, like we just said. And number 3, well, let's say number 2, visualize and believe. As
you have to believe.
You do. And the third point would be just do the work.
Right.
Share your thoughts with me about any of those components, whether it's knowing what you want, visualizing, or just do the work.
Well, just do the work really resonates big time with me because there's a lot of people that want coaching that come to us. Mm-hmm. They say, I want this, this, and this. And then they come to the session and they didn't do the work. And it gets very frustrating. How badly do you want it? You know?
I got someone in the chat room here, Mr. Smith. Mr. Smits, that says, what if you don't know what you want? How do you get there? Oh. What if your belief system is faulty? How do you get there?
You can, if you don't hire a coach, or if you don't have a really good friend or an accountability partner to help you hold you accountable, I really think it takes other people. People are people because of other people.
It takes self, but fueled and reminded and coerced,
right,
or with the respect you have with someone. You want to do well because you see you've got a partnership and you don't want to let the partnership down.
I'll take the question back to you. How would you answer that?
And the question is?
The faulty belief system. I don't have
fair enough.
Right now.
I say that to your point, I think you're right on. I think you're spot on. It comes back to know yourself. Take 100% responsibility for who you are and what you are and how you are. Mm-hmm. You take that, there's tons you can do with that. That is the starting point. That is the epicenter. And then as you build from there, you always come back to center. Yeah. You always refocus and come back to who you are, how you are, and what you are, what motivates your behavior. That also helps you with your want. So I really think that is really where it's at. And I appreciate this. What's your takeaway for today's show? Well, if you were listening to this podcast now versus being a part of it, a very key part of it, what would be your number 1 takeaway from this program?
You know what? It was a great reminder for me. We know this stuff, but you really have to keep it top of mind. So I'm just glad for the refresher because I'm going to definitely take the notes. I look at them once a day, but I'm going to make that more of a priority to strike the vision and get it here quicker.
Right. That's good. That's good. I think my takeaway would be this is an unbelievable refresher to have this kind of empowering conversation because it's all about conversation.
Of course.
And creating this conversation, it's getting me in touch at the heart level.
Nice.
I would say I'm having an HHG moment. Head, heart, and gut. And this HHG, the head, especially the ball head,
yes,
the heart and the gut. The gut is the intuition, the instinct.
Yeah. And
the heart is where you live from. And the head oftentimes can get in the way of the gut and the heart.
Yeah.
And so this is a recenter and a refocus for me. So I think I really feel good about having this conversation. Let's say this. Our next program is going to be JessTalk and Will Edwards with you, triple back co-hosting, and we're going to do some laser coaching moments with Will Edwards from the Will Edwards Show.
You guys are amazing together.
Oh, Will Edwards, this dude.
It's nonstop. I'm on the edge of my seat laughing.
This dude's got a little bit of a ripple in his step.
You know what? You guys are complete opposites with your approaches, but they really complement each other.
He's got a wonderful style,
way.
Very attractive, captivating, a schoolboyish kind of style. He says, like, well, I was thinking, when he already knows.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's his nice way of doing it. I hope he doesn't watch this podcast. That was a terrible impersonation of a very classy guy. So let's do this. Let's close the show with this. We challenge all of our podcasters to create empowering and powerful conversations that are connected with their friends and family, their village. And we know at the end of the day, when it comes to the feeling part, it's
all about how you leave them feeling.
How you leaving them feeling. So
Yeah.
let's close with that. We'll see you folks the next
and leave them wanting more.
We will leave you wanting
Okay.
more. That's the best way to leave people.
That's right.
Leave them wanting more.